a little brief bio on himself, and we'll just dive in for the day. So, Mr. Greg, thanks for joining us today, and the floor is yours, sir.
Well, I'm glad to be back to try to fix all of this. I'm doing this for my grandson, who did some research on our history in SOG, and matter of fact, he did research on my entire military career. So he found out a lot of things that I didn't even know about. So that was very exciting. But anyway, back to the show. When I got into the military, you had to be a triple volunteer to get into Special Forces. You had to volunteer for service, volunteer for jump school, and of course, volunteer for SF training. I'm what they call a shake and bake Special Forces soldier. When I graduated from SF training, I went straight to Vietnam with no military experience, no time in a line unit, nothing. So when I showed up at CCC, I was labeled as a greenhorn, and that's exactly what I was. And I got assigned to A Company. I was there for about a month with A Company, went on a local mission. It was a dry hole. It was an introduction of me getting overheated in the jungle carrying a radio and of course all the other gear and everything else. And I put in for 1-0 school. So while waiting for 1-0 school, I went to the S2 shop. I was there for a short while. And while I was there, me and another guy named Peterson, they put us on a helicopter with this device that we dropped into the jungle that looked like a tree, and it was supposed to pick up vibrations and sound. And I don't know who was the receiver of that on the other end, but however, we flew for an hour and a half before we dropped it, and then came back, to the compound. And then while I was also waiting to go to 1-0 school, I strapped hanging with Newman Ruff. I don't remember his team. I was thinking it was Arizona. Maybe somebody can let me know later. And I also strapped hang with RT Montana. Now, while I was on the mission with Newman, we went into a dry hole, and it was also during the dry season. And then when I was on RT Montana's mission, we got into enemy contact over a 2-day period. And that was my introduction to getting a CIB, if you want to call it that. Anyway, that was an exciting experience for me to work with guys that had been there for years, had been on numerous missions. These guys had so much experience, it was unbelievable. Even the mountain yards had been doing this for years and years, and their combat experience was just overwhelming. So all I had to do was keep my mouth shut and learn, and that's what I did. And guys like Dylan Baylor, Mark Gentry, Sheppard, and a couple of the other guys, I can't remember their names. It was on RT Montana on that particular mission. One of the team members that was assigned to it, he wasn't on that mission. Do you remember his name?
Was Mr. Mike Buckland, or I meant Mr. Mike Bentley there?
Yeah, it was Mike Bentley. Mike Bentley was also on the team, but he wasn't on that particular mission. I don't remember him being on it. But do I need to talk about the mission itself?
Yes, sir. If you'd like to, absolutely.
I don't mind. We were. I don't remember exactly where the area was, but we were approaching a river as a team, and Mike Baylor, or what, I don't remember his first name. Baylor was up front, and so was Sheppard, and they saw some stuff across the river that we were approaching, and it was the NVA also crossing the river. They were carrying heavy equipment, rockets, RPGs, bags and baskets of stuff. It was all kinds of stuff that they were carrying. And they realized that they were on the same side of the river that we were. They were just further up. Anyway, I don't know how action started, but we were being shot at, and we were firing back. Some of the guys were taking care of the front. I was on the left side of the file, and Mike Sheppard hollered. He told me to start firing up that left side because he thought somebody was coming, and we started receiving rounds on that side. So I shot up the whole area with a couple of magazines of stuff. The next thing you know, we were booking out of there. We were going back to another position where we had a perimeter already set up. We had claymores out. So while we were in that, when we made it back there, we started getting shot at some more. Baylor called in a gunship. We had this gunship hovering over us, and we were catching the brass that was falling on top of us from the gunship. And also Mike Sheppard hollered out to fire up the claymores. And I said, well, which one? Because we had several of them out. You got to remember, I'm a greenhorn. He said, to hell with it, fire all of them. And I did. I grabbed the clackers and I fired every one of them. And after I fired every one of them, we booked again. That was a good time to get out of the area. So we got out of the area, and then we linked up with a Mike Force unit, and we stayed overnight with them. We were inside their circle, and then the next day we saw some bad guys digging in on the side of the hill, and we started getting shot at by mortars. Well, I jumped in the ditch with our mortar, and I started firing mortar rounds back. I did go, my AIT training, I was a mortarman. So I knew a little bit about the mortars. Anyway, I was firing back. I don't even know if my mortars made it to where they were at. Yeah, that's me right there, shooting up a 60.
I've just recently found out, and you can tell us better and you can clear this up, because this is in Jason Hardy's new book talking about this mission. It's got laid out in the photography portion of it. It says y'all actually met up with members of, according to him, RT Montana on a combined op, and you're standing in the background of this photo, one I just showed. Let me exit this off so y'all can see me. Where the team had located a large NVA unit. CCC headquarters element had decided to exploit the situation and send in the CCC hatchet forces to block the NVA from retreating, while Mike Sheppard, Greg Jordan, Virgil Dillon, and Chuck Baylor called in air.
Yeah, we did call in fast movers. Yeah, and we also had artillery support.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had artillery going off first, and then some fast movers came in and dropped some stuff on that hillside that was shooting at us. That particular photo there was not part of the mission. That must have been an earlier version of RT Montana or New Hampshire or somebody.
Montana, that's one of out of Montana's. And right. I've got a few that looks like some of I know these airstrikes right here, I believe you said were on some of the elements y'all caught out in the open over there. Right.
That's some of the that's where the fast movers dropped their heavier stuff. Artillery. We had some earlier photos of artillery rounds going off on the same hillside.
Oh man, that's y'all loading up for.
Anyway, that's Mike on the right. Yeah, that's the same photos. I don't have those, but I do remember the shots. That's the fast mover right there.
Yeah, I'll send these to you. That's a great one.
But anyway,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
that was the first mission that I was on that we got into contact. Now, when I did go out with A Company on that local, we got shut up by friendly fire. The APCs that guarded the road between Contoon and Playcool was shooting at us as we was exfilling down to the road. But I don't count that. When we got behind this huge boulder in the mountain yards, we're eating chow, like a chow break while we were receiving rounds from the APC. They didn't seem to be bothered, so I wasn't either. I kind of like keyed off of how they were doing, what they were doing. You know, if they didn't panic, I didn't panic. That kind of thing.
That, I mean, that friendly had to be pucker factor inducing nonetheless. I mean, that I'd still count that. That's pretty dang scary. I mean,
it's very serious. But anyway, getting back to the mission, after it was all said and done, we did an exfil. We had to clear the area where we were at so the helicopters could land. We took some det cord and some C4 and got rid of a couple of trees. And then helicopters came in, very non-eventful. We got on the helicopters and went back to CCC. And I think, I'm not sure about what really happened after that, but they sent somebody, the compound commander sent somebody else out there to do a BDA. Mm-hmm. It might have been the same hatchet force that was already out there, or Mike force. Mm-hmm. You know, there was another Mike Sheppard.
Customize and